The Real Talk Corner. We back. We in the building. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fighting my way through the darkness where the wicked don't rest. Conscious aware, truth I dare, shield tied to my chest. My tenacity can put these motherfuckers to the test. High priestess of fire, alchemistic desire. I stay manifesting shit, even when I am tired. You can call me amazing, by the bricks I be laying, but you'll never call me lazy, cause my vibes are devastating. In the league of my own, spitting real talk energy. I know a little something about a thing called synergy. This is old radio, throw a sun and masses awaken me. Listen up, cause we about to set your mind, body, and soul free. Welcome to the Real Talk Corner. Don't let me stop. Welcome to the Real Talk Corner. I am your host, Ariana Gutierrez, and today I have a special guest with me, Alexi Bracey, a remarkable cancer survivor. Now, you know, on this podcast, we share inspiring stories, definitely stories of hope and resilience. And today is one of those days. In this episode, she is going to share her incredible journey through cancer and how it led her to discover and teach powerful tools for mental health and emotional well-being. So join us as we explore her story of triumph and we learn how she is helping others live happier and more fulfilling lives. Let's dive into this inspiring conversation. All right, welcome to the Real Talk Corner, where in this podcast we share inspiring stories of resilience and hope. And today we have a great one, but I'm your host, Ariana Gutierrez, and today with my special guest, Alexi Bracey. She's a remarkable cancer survivor. And she's going to go into her story. We're going to talk about her story and then how she became who she is. But first, Alexi, go ahead and let them know who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, everybody remembers a phone call, an event, worldwide or personal that happened. So, you know, it could be 9/11, it could be JFK, it could be Princess Di's death. Well, for me, it was the phone call that I got that nobody wants to get. When the voice said at the other end, you have cancer, we want to book you in for your surgery. Like dead silence. I don't know whether it was 5 seconds, 10 seconds or more. And as I hung up the receiver and I said, thank you, I knew then in my heart of hearts I was going to beat it. How? I had no idea, but I was determined I would. And back then, the availability of the internet is not what it is today. So I spent countless hours at bookstores and chapters researching and learning about cancer, diet, nutrition, which was totally foreign to me. And so I made a few lifestyle changes. I was a traditional chef, so I took off my traditional chef hat, put on one of a raw food chef hat. It was a really big hot item back 20 some odd years ago. And without any medical intervention, I was cancer-free a year later. So that started me on the journey to learn more about health and healing and cancer from a holistic standpoint. And I ended up teaching and helping a lot of people along the way. And then I had an unfortunate accident again, another life challenge, where through a no-fault accident, which resulted in a balance issue, I fell and broke my femur, which ended my career as a chef. I was sort of freelancing this as well as being the health coach. And so I thought, okay, so what am I going to do? I was not really practicing the healing per se as much as I used to. And so then when I found out that bringing joy was one of my key values, and how that started was I used to freelance as a chef working at remote fishing lodges, and one lodge I worked there for 4 summers. And the repeat guests were 90% of them were repeats from years ago. So now they're now bringing their grandsons. So, and every year when I come back, they go, oh, Alexi, have you got any jokes? Because I used to go out and talk to them during the dinner time and share jokes. certainly not going to talk to them about fishing. And so, like going back, one of my key values was bringing joy. I thought, okay, so do you want to be a stand-up comedian? So what am I going to do with this? And so then the Happy for No Reason um, training program fell into my lap, and that was a perfect fit. And so now I'm a happiness advocate, mentor, and speaker, showing people how, giving them tools on how to be happy, because according to the happiness report that came out 4 years ago, our happiness levels have plummeted 25% across the planet, which is very significant. I mean, if you
Yeah.
think of it, we're always complaining and blaming and shaming this person, that person, or whatever. So, happiness really feeds my soul. And so, random acts of kindness, a smile on somebody's face, sending a card, buying flowers, holding the door open, shoveling the snow. There's all sorts of little things you can do, and lots more.
Right, right. So can you share a little bit about the cancer journey and what really transformed your perspective on life just in that particular aspect?
Well, it's just we are totally responsible for our own life, whether we're going to be happy or not, whether we're going to be healthy or not, whether we're going to be in a relationship or not. It's mindset, because there's a famous saying: if you think you can, you're right, and if you think you can't, you're also right. So,
Mhm.
you know, when you know what your values are in terms of, for me, health was obviously a big value because I wanted to stay healthy, and I was determined that I was going to find another way and not to be a victim to the cancer. I did the research, and I took action. So the big thing is, if you don't know, take action or hire somebody. But action, action, action. That's what's going to get you results. Sitting there and hoping and praying, even though it can be very effective, you still have to take action. So, praying is still taking action. Doing research is taking action. Reaching out and getting professional help is taking action. So without action, we don't do anything. When we wanted to learn how to walk, we took action. When we wanted to learn how to ride a bicycle, we took action. If you want to start your own business, you have to take action.
Right. I like how you said how that you not only just got the diagnosis, because most people will get their diagnosis on different things and just kind of whatever the doctor says, they kind of just go with it. But you chose to do research and look up what kind of came to you to made you like, I need to look this up also, not just take what the doctor is telling me in the
Well,
office.
I think part of it could be also a prior career that I had before I was a chef, and I was a lab technologist. So I used to work in the lab, doing lab tests, so for doctors then to diagnose, you have cancer, you have heart disease, you have an allergy, whatever it is. So I had a little bit of an insight being able to read lab results and knew
Mm,
the significance of it, because most doctors, when you get your blood test taken, most doctors will just say, oh, okay, it's normal. For me, normal is not acceptable. You want optimum. So,
mm,
I know how to read the results. And so when I get my blood work done, you can see your blood work results online. I always go online and I go, okay, well, no, I got to improve on this. And there's different strategies you can use to improve. A lot of it is, supplements, or, changing your few dietary habits, or including some, fruits and vegetables that maybe you don't eat, really being cognizant. So, again, I took action. I did ask for a second opinion. And
mhm.
basically, what the pathologist did was walk me down the hallway, and his coworker reread the report. Well, so much for a second opinion. I wasn't satisfied with that. I wanted to dig deeper.
Right, right. I know you spoke about going to where the fisherman's sons and you were telling jokes. Were there any other key turning points that made you just kind of realize that happiness was what you wanted to bring, or just maybe like enhance as you're going around?
Well, it's really funny you should say that, because on Facebook you have memories where every day you can look at memories from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. And I have a habit of posting feel good stories or motivational stories, or um, and I was posting gratitude and happiness articles way back then. So it was,
Mm,
I don't know, I guess partially genetic, I don't know, but it really feeds my soul. And so even today, part of my sharing happiness is to my circle of friends. I send emails, whether it's an inspiring story, a memory I shared, a cute little cartoon, a quote, just to put a little smile on people's faces. And it really lifts their spirit, because behind every face there's a story of trust, of loss, of grief, of trauma, and everybody's going through something. So that one little story, one little joke can really inspire you, and really shift the way you think. And it lowers your cortisol, it raises the feel-good hormones in your brain, and laughter has been shown to promote longevity, which is part of happiness. So I
mhm.
just look at ways where I can just make people smile, just make them feel better, because you never know what's going on in their life. You just never know. Like, for example, if I can share, a few years ago, I was living in a high rise, and I have two dogs. So I'm walking my dogs, and I befriended this young man standing on the corner. He's having a cigarette, and he had come from the Philippines to look after his brother who was diagnosed with cancer. And so he'd take me to doctor's appointments and things like that. And so every couple of weeks, I'd run into him on the street corner, and we strike up a conversation. And then one week, he said that his brother had died, and the funeral was reception was in a couple of weeks, and would I go? And the funeral home was just a few blocks away. And I said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." So when I arrived at the funeral, there were about 30 Filipinos in the chapel. I made my way up to my friend. He took me up to the casket. I had never met his brother, and said that they were waiting to ship the body back with the casket to the Philippines for burial, because his mother couldn't come here for the service. Then
Right.
exchanged a few words, and I left. And then a few weeks later, I'm walking down the street, and this young Filipino woman approaches me, and she says, "Weren't you the lady that went to so so's funeral, a few weeks ago?" I said, "Yes, it was." She says, "You have no idea how you impacted our community. Even though it
Well,
was a sad moment, people are impacted that I took the time to pay my respects to somebody I didn't even know, but it was respecting his brother." So just an
mm,
example of, it was a little bit of happiness in these people's lives. Oh, somebody cared, somebody took the time. So, like, you never know what one kind word or what kind action can really impact people.
definitely, definitely. I think that a lot of people are in the hustle and bustle and whatever their emotions are going on, and it's a very selfish place to be. But if they can change it and switch it to, if I was this person, how would I want someone to treat me in this moment? Would I want that grace, or would I want that patience and understanding to just say, okay, well, this person's having a bad day, or this person is going through something beyond us, because all we see is in this moment. We don't know
Yeah.
the background of anybody's story. So I think that's awesome. You also mentioned talking about mental health and emotional well being. Can you go into that a little bit?
Well, if you're living in an environment where you're supportive or loved, it's really different than an environment where you're being criticized and the person is complaining about you didn't do the dishes right, or you left your shoes uh, in the corner, or whatever it is. Emotionally, we all need to be fed positivity, and so the more
Mm,
positivity we give out, the more positivity is going to come back to you. They say that we complain, like, we have 16,000 to 18,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of them are the same, and 50% of them at least are complaining. They're negative thoughts. When you have a conversation with a person, it has been shown that within the first minute, you're always already complaining about something or the other person. So, it's really paying attention to what comes out of your mouth. A great tool to stop that is, whether it's at the workplace or at home, every time you catch yourself complaining or you catch the other person complaining, you have to put $1 in this jar, or a quart, or whatever. And when it gets full, then you give it to your favorite charity. So it really makes people to start thinking about, what am I complaining about? Oh, this coffee's a little cold. Oh, my coworker didn't finish that assignment, or your children, oh, they didn't make their lunches last night, or oh, there's just all sorts of things that people complain about that really doesn't matter. But then again, it's how you approach the person that's complaining to switch it around to make it positive.
Right, right. I definitely. How does that? And I understand what you're saying. So how does that for someone who's not really familiar, or they don't even realize, because a lot of people don't realize how much they complain or how much negativity
Mhm.
is going on, right? And it takes you to become aware and really sit down and become aware of every thought that's coming in, everything that you say, how you respond, which even myself, it took me a while over a course of some years to really get to, oh, wow, I didn't even realize my mind is ticking in this way. And I'm just got these thoughts coming, or if my response seems to be negative versus how can I respond in a way, even though it's truth, but it's nicer, or it's more tactful, or there's some love within what I'm saying it versus it coming out harsh. What do you say for someone who's just not, maybe not even aware? How could they get into this place to become aware?
Well, there's a number of ways, I guess. Number one, a good habit to get into is to have a gratitude journal, and either first thing in the morning or at night, write down three things that you're grateful for. And they're
Yeah.
and but they cannot repeat. Every day has to be something different. People love hugs, so give hugs to your kids or to your spouse or your family or whatever all the time. I mean, you don't know what's going on in life, but it really lifts you up. For people that live alone, a self hug is beautiful. So wrap your arms around you for 1 minute and be grateful for what you've done in the past, somebody that you were nice to, what you're going to do this day, for the sunshine, for the food that you have, for your pets, for your family, for your
Mm.
accomplishments, for people that have helped you, whatever. Give yourself a self hug, because it really will change your stress levels, and you'll really start thinking about things in a different way. And then, before you open your mouth to criticize somebody or to offer advice, it's the way it's worded. Excuse me for a second. For example, we're giving unsolicited advice all the time. Well, I think you should. Why didn't you? Oh, I think that was really stupid. It's
Right.
emotional intelligence is now more important than your IQ, and it's how you
Mm.
talk to people that really makes them a difference. What It'll either turn them on or will make them inspired. Like even with your kids, for example, your son comes home from school and he got 5 out of 10 on his test. Instead of saying 5 out of 10, you're grounded, give me your cell phone, you can say, oh, that's not very good. How can we make it an 8 out of 10 the next time? Like it's just a rewarding to make people think a little differently before you give advice to somebody. May I offer a suggestion? Can I give you my opinion? Have you ever considered looking at it a different way? It just softens it and gives people a chance to, both the giver and the receiver, to really
Mm.
think differently. And you're doing it from your heart, from a positive tone of voice. And positive advice as opposed to being shoved information down our throats, which is unfortunately the way most of us have been brought up, because that's the way our parents knew and that's the way they were brought up. But it's
Mm.
different today.
Right. I always tell people I realize I'm a solution driven person. So if you come to
Mm,
me with a problem, I'm going to want to give you a solution. So I came to
mhm.
this place where realizing that not everybody wants a solution. Not everybody wants to get to that place. So really like, okay, well, this is how I am. Either I have to stop the conversations of people coming to me with complaints, or ask, so do you want a solution, or you just need to vent? Like, is this you just need to vent, and I want it, and I'm going to hold space for you? Because learning to hold space and just be quiet and let someone kind of go through what they're going through has been huge to learn also.
Absolutely. And acknowledging the person that you heard them. So then when you repeat what they just said, if there's some misunderstanding, it can be corrected. So, you're both on the same page.
Right, right. I love that, mental health and emotional well-being is within what you're doing. I think a lot of people don't realize how, we go through regular stressors. Everyone has their life, everyone has what they're going through. But there's this not realizing how to kind of unwind or doing things to de-stress, so that it just tacks on and on and on and on until most people are having either some type of breakdown or some type of spazzing out, or some type of emotional issue, because they're not giving themselves time to even say my mental health is important, or my
I
emotional health is important.
I know, because it really plays on your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-confidence, and that impacts the decisions you're going to make. And if you have a family, it impacts how they're going to consider, do they have a brighter, promising future, or is this all there is? The suicide rates among our youth, anxiety and depression are skyrocketing. And,
Yeah.
because we're not taught social skills in the school system anymore, which is something that I'm really passionate about, to getting out there, just to teach social skills at home. Parents don't know how, but they can be taught. Or, on professional development days, to go into and talk to the teachers, little things you can do just to boost their self-esteem and self-worth, because then they feel better about themselves.
Right, right. Yeah, I talk a lot about, of course, men's health, also mental health, because
Hmm.
their suicide rate is so high,
Same thing.
and a lot
Same
of
thing.
people, they don't even think about, because they're supposed to be strong and they're supposed to, just
Hmm.
keep going, and kind of get overlooked so much. So I do talk about that a lot, and how important it is for them to take a minute, and the whoever they're with, their partner should understand to be supportive, understand to be. And I think in the generations coming up now, unfortunately, there's a lot of women who are even more, and I won't say mean, but just they're in this space of, what do I need more than their spouse, or more than my partner? This is my partner, and it should be us taking care of each other. And this person might need me one moment, or I might, need me, or I might need them, but it should be like the partnership. And now you see a lot of the generations coming up, they're missing this, completely missing
Mm.
this. What do you say to that?
Well, we all need to practice self-care. Absolutely. Whether it's together or solo. And there's all sorts of things you can do, like really commit to spend, having a date with your husband or your wife once a week, or an evening to to go to the movies, or an afternoon or Sunday hike in the woods, just to really connect and really talk to your spouse. What can we do to make our relationship better? If people haven't done the love quiz, what does your partner need in terms of being shown love? Because everybody's different. Some need kind words, some people need physical touch, some people need acts of service, like, fix the dryer before asking. We're all different. So it really boils down to communication. But, putting the other person's needs, you know, as important as yours, but you can't neglect yours, because you have to fill your cup up first.
Right, right. Which I think that's not taught. So a lot of people
No,
don't. It's not taught. They don't know, and then we're chasing all the other things of thinking that that's going to fulfill us, and definitely does not.
that's right.
Um,
People unfortunately think that when you accumulate things, that's going to make you happy, but it's the other way around. You have to be happy from the inside first.
oh, definitely. No one or nothing is ever going to fulfill you. You
No.
have to find that peace within you, and then everything else is just one of those blessings. I love that you brought in the gratitude, because I don't think a lot of people understand how important it is to just sit in that moment and be thankful, even if everything is falling apart, even if it looks like the world is coming down on you. How important it is to still find something to be thankful for.
Absolutely. Whether we take for granted that we have a bed to sleep on and food on the table and water to drink and electricity, we just take
Right,
all that for granted because there's so many people that don't have that we have food on the table, that
right.
we have people that love us, that we have pets that think we're the cat's meow. There's all sorts of little things that, the availability of the internet, your cell phones, even though there's, well, we'll just keep it positive. So,
I remember before cell phones. I remember
oh,
before internet. Such a different world.
oh, oh, absolutely different world. The fact that you have a car, the fact that you can, you know,
Right.
um, all sorts of things that we can go on holidays, that you can be there taking an airplane in an hour versus driving for 6 hours.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to just far as some examples of just happiness, because again, when we talk about happiness, a lot of people their happiness is within money or
Mhm.
it's within what they think their job or whatever it is that they think is happiness. But what are some maybe some neat tools of just how to create that happiness without just attaching it to if I have this thing or this money or this person, that's my happiness.
Well, the best thing, for me is to commit to, making at least one person a day smile, or giving
Mm,
them a compliment, or maybe helping them. So, like, every day we say, have a good day, whether it's a stranger, whether it's the end of
mm,
an email, whether it's your family, have a good day. Well, what does have a good day mean? That's so vanilla. It's just have a good day mean don't spill the coffee, or I hope you don't have an awkward moment. But, why not suggest, I hope you put a smile on someone's face today, or I hope you can buy a cup of coffee for somebody at the coffee shop, or maybe share a joke, or offer a word of encouragement. I like your smile. I like your dress. Your daughter's really cute. I like that haircut. Is there? Can I help you with anything? When people help me at the grocery store, usually it's somebody that's going to be younger than me. Opening the
mm.
door, and so my comment is that age before beauty. Just to make them smile. Like you know,
Right.
when you're checking out at the grocery store, ask the cashier what her name is, and offer her a compliment. Well, you've got a nice smile. You're doing a really great job, because research has shown that when you compliment, say, the grocery store cashier, the ripple effect affects 2 generations down the road. It will affect her son's teacher. It's
Oh, wow.
just through the ripple effect of a kind gesture. You just never know how it will affect another person. And then they'll be, feel like, well, I want to do something nice too because it made me feel good.
Right, right. I do feel that the ripple effect is huge. And a lot of times people are thinking grand gestures that they need to do, but it really
No.
doesn't take grand gestures for that ripple effect. The very small things that we overlook are powerful.
That's right. For example, like even teaching your kids the same thing. When you take them to a restaurant or a takeout place, really teach your kids to pay attention to what's going on around them, even like the grocery store. Pay t- excuse me. Teach them to really watch. Maybe there's somebody that you can take the buggy back to where they're loaded. Maybe
Mhm.
they can hold the door open for somebody at the takeout place. Maybe you can get a handful of napkins and hand it to the person in front of you, or hand it to the person behind you. Maybe somebody dropped their coinage, get your kids to pick it up. When you're at a restaurant, get them to pay attention. Maybe there's an older person that needs help with their chair to sit down, or maybe they dropped their fork. So there's all sorts of things that you can do, but really important is to teach your children to pay attention to what's going on around them. That doesn't mean they have to be far away from you to help, but within proximity, because then they're going to appreciate it, and it's going to make them feel better. And of course, you
Right,
as a parent, you know, I'm doing the right thing.
right, right. go. It does definitely. It's definitely huge changes. Um, what advice could you give to someone facing very major life change, like how you went through cancer? Anyone going through any health crisis? What could you give them of just maintaining their happiness throughout what they're going
There's
through?
always there's there's always a lesson to be gleaned in anything that happens to you that is negative. Like for example, for me, it was, I was my mindset, and I knew it was going to be that, and then it just led to other opportunities. For example, Christopher Reeves said the happiest years of his life were his last three, because of his spinal cord injury, he was able to help a lot of people. you know.
Mm,
Another challenge, even though it was not a particularly good story, but it has a good ending, so to speak. The mother that lost her daughter to drunk driving, she started
mhm.
MAD. So, how many people has MAD impacted not to drink and drive? So,
Right.
for example, the comedian, what's his name? Right, used to go to the hospitals and act as a clown and put a smile on people's faces. He himself was suffering from anxiety and depression, and there was a lack of self worth, but he made the world a better place because everybody remembers his antics and his short little quotes. Because he says, I don't know how many people I've made happy in the world, but if I made one person smile, my life has been worth it.
Right.
I mean, that just
Right.
gives me goosebumps when you think about it. There's always something you can find positive. Of course, you may have pity moments at the beginning, thinking, oh, why me? I did everything right, whatever. Well, the universe is tapping you on the shoulder, giving you another chance. Maybe you can consider looking at your life and doing things a little bit differently. And then again, because gratitude and happiness plays such an important role, because it raises your body's frequency, and we want to be at a higher frequency because that's where the happiness resides.
Yeah.
Start examining your life. How are you doing things? How could you improve? How can you change?
Right. Yeah, that part of why me is big. The why
Hmm.
me. I
That's
remember one time when I started my healing journey, and I was in a very negative space. So I had a lot of the why me's. And I remember this healer was like, well, why not you? And I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? And it hit me.
yeah, that's a good one.
I had to sit with that for a moment, and I was like, interesting take, like, why not you? Why should it be someone else to go through these things? Why not you? And definitely changed my look on a lot of things. And then you kind of see your resilience or your strength or what you bring to the table. And when you talk to other people, they can tell you these stories that they see that you never even realized how other people are looking at you, that you're inspiring just from overcoming these situations, and not even realizing that you're doing it in that moment. But you think the way that you did it of finding the happiness and finding just ways to deal with it without just sinking into I'm dying, this is it, there's nothing else for me to do, and just kind of going away. You did the opposite of it, which was, I think, is phenomenal.
Yeah, so there's a famous quote. God says, "If I took you to it, I'll take you through it." You know, so what legacy do you want to leave on this earth plane? Being diagnosed with something, or not even, just your everyday life. What do you want people to remember you for? For me, obviously, it's telling jokes and bringing happiness to people's lives. So, I've already said that, when you're having the service for me after I've died, the cost of admission is you have to come with a joke, and then somebody will compile the jokes, and we'll sell the book and give the proceeds to charity. Because even
Right.
in death, it's still a happy moment because you remember the good times of the person, what they did, how they inspired you. Like anything negative, look, flip it around because there's always something positive. Always something positive. You may not see it initially, but there is.
Right. Right. I definitely feel we should celebrate death and not mourn, because
Hmm.
we don't know if it's their time. We don't know, we don't know any of that. We're projecting, most of the time we're projecting how we feel were supposed to live, or we feel that their life was cut short, or the world now is ended because they're gone. Not that people don't impact others, because yeah, their presence is going to be missed, but I definitely feel we should celebrate more versus it being just the mourning and crying and stuff like that. I
Hmm.
definitely do not want that at my funeral. Definitely don't want that. I don't want anyone screaming and crying. I want them to celebrate my life and what I did and what I brought to the table. Even people, it's like you, even if you don't think you've done anything, there's definitely going to be people that you've impacted on some level,
That's right. That's right.
right?
You just never know. Maybe that little smile, maybe that pat on the arm, maybe it's the card you sent, the flowers you gave, the cookies you made. You just never know. You taught your son how to be a world-class skier. You taught your daughter how to bake, and now she's a world-class baker. Like you just never know little things that we do, how they impact other people.
Right, right. Do you have any social media or where someone can contact you? I know I think some of your contact information I will put
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
description.
yeah. LinkedIn is the best place, and then also I'll send you a link. Positive Prime is a site online that has been researched, and they have different categories like wellness, success, relationships, family, whatever. And each category has 8 to 10 to 12 different videos. The videos, there's no spoken word. It's just views of sunsets, couples having dinner, kids playing, celebrating, um, and with subliminal messages, whether it's gratitude or kindness or whatever. And it has been shown that if you watch 3 minutes of this video every single day, it improves your self worth, self esteem, decision making skills that last for 6 to 7 hours. And it has been proven by Sean Akers, who authored the Happiness Advantage. He's a researcher, and like I mentioned before, he says that people think the car, the boat, the second job is going to make me happy. No, it's happiness from within. So I'll send you a link. I've got a link for a 10-day free trial, so people can try it and just see how they enjoy it, because it really impacts psyche each and every day. So I make it a habit first thing in the morning, and then my daily hugs, and the gratitude at the end of the day. And if I may, I'd like to share a joke.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so Mrs. Sullivan's walking down the street in Dublin, and across the road is Father O'Henry. Oh, Mrs. Sullivan, how nice to see you. Didn't I marry you and your husband a few years ago? Oh, yes, you did, Father. And would there be any wee ones yet? Oh, no, not yet, Father. Oh, that's too bad, but I tell you what, I'm going to Rome next week, so I'll light a fertility candle. Oh, that would be lovely, Father. Many years go by. Mrs. Sullivan's walking down the same street in Dublin, and across the road is Father O'Henry. Mrs. Sullivan, how nice to see you. Any wee ones yet? Oh, yes, Father. We have 2 sets of twins and 4 singles, a full house. Oh, my, that is lovely. And how would your husband be? Oh, he's gone to Rome to blow out the effing candle.
Like no more. I love that.
Yeah, so
I
just,
absolutely
something simple that makes
love.
people put a smile on their face.
Yeah, I'm horrible with jokes. Horrible with jokes. But I think that one was awesome. So I will definitely put your information in the description. It was very lovely having a conversation with you. I love just what you're advocating for and the point of happiness and finding that within everything that we do. I think is so important.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been my pleasure too. Just hope I brighten your day a little bit. So,
Oh, definitely.
yeah. Okay. And so may your days be filled with love, joy, peace, and gratitude.
Thank you so much. All right, you guys, until next time, bye.